Guys, let me tell you a story. The other day I got in the car with my kids and they started playing a funny game, which is they split the car in half, two teams, and anything that we would pass by, they would claim. That house is mine, that store is mine, and they just started accumulating all these things and claiming all those things. It was funny, it's innocent, but it got me thinking, how many times do we live our lives like that, guys? Looking at things and chasing after our desires, just looking at something we want and going after it to full throttle instead of waiting and seeing what is it that God wants for us in our lives. You see, we see an example here in Genesis 13 where Lot and Abram have to make a decision. They've accumulated too much wealth, the land can sustain them, and they have to do something about it. And there's a different in physical reactions between the two of them. Lot is described as looking up, he sees the lush of the Jordan, and he grabs all his stuff and chases after it. That actually leads him to his demise. On the contrary, Abram sits, he waits, and what God does is that he lifts Abram's eyes, he shows him around, and he says, all of you see around you will be yours and your descendants. So guys, this is a beautiful example of how we should be reacting. You see, there's a vicious cycle that we can fall in, which is when we hold on to our possessions with our tight grip, we eventually go from having that physical reaction of holding tight to chasing after our desires to depending and putting all of our trust on the things we've accumulated. Rather, we have to sit. We have to hold our possessions with open hand and let God be the one that decides what he wants to do with those things that he's given to us and entrusted us to begin with. And once we have that physical reaction of just generosity and trusting God in his will for our lives, we start seeking him rather than more of our desires, and we start trusting him instead of the possessions and the things we've accumulated. So that's my encouragement today, guys. Let's have that. Let's start reminding ourselves with that physical reaction of let's be generous and let's put our trust in God, and let's sit still and listen to what he wants to do in our lives instead of just chasing after everything we desire. God bless.